A man in a $3,000 suit walks into Judge Caprio's courtroom like he owns the place. Six-figure watch, designer briefcase, the posture of someone who's used to being the most important person in every room he enters. His name is Marcus Wellington, and he's the chief executive officer of a major tech company in Providence. Annual salary, $2.4 million. Company valuation, over $1 billion. He's here for a routine traffic violation, reckless driving and excessive speed. He expects this to take 5 minutes, pay a fine, maybe get it reduced, and get back to running his empire. After all, he's Marcus Wellington. Rules are for other people. But as Judge Frank Caprio begins reviewing the circumstances of the violation, a high-speed chase through a residential neighborhood, nearly hitting pedestrians, aggressive behavior toward police, Marcus does something that stuns the entire courtroom. He gives Judge Caprio the middle finger. Right there, in open court, on camera, with complete arrogance. What happens next isn't just about a traffic violation anymore. It's about a CEO who thinks his wealth makes him untouchable, learning that some authority can't be bought. Some disrespect won't be tolerated, and some consequences are immediate and devastating. Hit subscribe right now, because 97% of viewers haven't subscribed to Judge Stories, and this case proves why arrogance has a price, and why one gesture can destroy a multi-million-dollar career in seconds. By the end of this video, you'll watch a CEO's empire crumble, a company's board of directors take emergency action, and Judge Caprio deliver one of the harshest rulings in his courtroom's history. Here's the question. What happens when someone who's never faced real consequences finally meets accountability? Marcus Wellington is about to find out. Wednesday morning, 9:45 a.m., Providence Municipal Court. The bailiff calls Marcus Wellington, reckless driving, excessive speed, failure to obey police commands. A man in his early 40s enters the courtroom with the confidence of someone who's never been told no. His suit is immaculate, clearly custom-made, probably Italian. His shoes shine like mirrors. Everything about him screams wealth and power. He doesn't walk to the podium. He strides like he's entering a boardroom where he's about to fire someone. Judge Caprio looks up with his characteristic courtesy. "Good morning, Mr. Wellington." Marcus barely glances at him. "Morning? No, Your Honor, no respect, and just a dismissive acknowledgement." Judge Caprio's expression flickers slightly. He's noticed the disrespect but chooses to proceed professionally. "Mr. Wellington, you're cited for reckless driving on Benefit Street, traveling 68 mph in a 25 mph residential zone. Can you tell me what happened?" Marcus sighs like this is a waste of his valuable time. "I was late for a board meeting. The street was clear. Nobody was in danger. The police report indicates there were pedestrians present and you came within feet of hitting them," Judge Caprio notes. "The police report exaggerates," Marcus replies. "People weren't paying attention. I had control of my vehicle." Judge Caprio reviews the file more carefully. "Mr. Wellington, it says here that when police attempted to pull you over, you didn't stop immediately. You continued driving for several blocks. Why?" Marcus's response is casual, almost bored. "I was trying to find a convenient place to stop. I wasn't going to pull over in the middle of traffic. You drove for 6 blocks before stopping. Like I said, I was looking for a convenient spot." Judge Caprio's tone becomes more pointed. "Mr. Wellington, the officer's report states that when he approached your vehicle, you were on your phone, a business call, and you told him to wait until you finished. I was in the middle of an important negotiation." "The officer could wait 2 minutes," the courtroom murmurs. This level of entitlement is shocking, even for traffic court. Judge Caprio continues. "The officer also reports that you refused to provide your license initially, stating you, and I quote, 'don't have time for this nonsense.' Is that accurate?" Marcus shrugs. "I was frustrated. It was a waste of my time." "A waste of your time to comply with a lawful traffic stop?" "Your Honor, do you know who I am?" There it is, the question that always precedes disaster. Judge Caprio's response is measured. "I know you're Marcus Wellington and you're facing serious traffic violations. Beyond that, I don't see how your identity is relevant." Marcus's smile is condescending. "I'm the CEO of Tech Vanguard Systems. We employ 400 people in Providence. We contribute millions to the local economy. I think my position is very relevant. Mr. Wellington, in this courtroom, your position as CEO is as relevant as anyone else's job, which is to say, not at all. We're here to address your violations. Marcus's expression hardens. He's not used to being spoken to this way. Subscribe to Judge Stories if you believe wealth doesn't place you above the law. Judge Caprio pulls up dash cam footage from the police vehicle. Mr. Wellington, let's review the video of the traffic stop. The footage plays on courtroom monitors. It shows Marcus's luxury sedan, a Mercedes S-Class, speeding through a residential neighborhood. Kids play on the sidewalks. A woman walking her dog has to jump back as Marcus zooms past. When police lights activate, Marcus doesn't slow down. He continues for 6 blocks, eventually pulling over in front of his office building. The officer approaches. Marcus is clearly on his phone. The officer waits. Marcus gestures dismissively. Keep waiting. Finally, after nearly 2 minutes, Marcus hangs up and rolls down his window partway. Officer, license and registration, please. Marcus smirks. Do you know how much that call was worth? Probably more than you make in a year. The courtroom watches in disbelief. This is actually recorded, officer. Sir, I need your license and registration. Marcus. Fine. Here. He throws his license at the officer rather than handing it to him. Judge Caprio pauses the video. Mr. Wellington, you threw your license at a police officer. I handed it to him. The video clearly shows you throwing it. That's your interpretation. Judge Caprio resumes the video. The officer is running Marcus's information. When he returns, he begins explaining the violations. Officer. Mr. Wellington, I'm citing you for reckless driving and excessive speed. Marcus interrupts. How much is the fine? I'll pay it right now and we can both get on with our lives. Officer. Sir, this isn't just a fine. Reckless driving at those speeds in a residential zone can result in a license suspension. Marcus scoffs. I'm not losing my license. That's not happening. Officer. Sir, that's for the court to decide. Marcus leans forward, irritated. Do you know who I am? Do you understand what I do? I can't function without a license. I have meetings across the state, across the country. Officer. Sir, you nearly hit multiple pedestrians going nearly 70 in a 25. Marcus smirks. Nearly doesn't count. The video ends. The courtroom is silent, absorbing what they just witnessed. Judge Caprio speaks carefully. Mr. Wellington, I want to make sure I understand your position. You believe that because you're a CEO, because you're wealthy, because you employ people, you should be exempt from consequences for dangerous driving? I believe context matters, Your Honor. I'm not some reckless teenager. I'm a professional with responsibilities. And those responsibilities justify endangering pedestrians. Nobody was actually endangered. That's dramatic exaggeration. Judge Caprio's patience is visibly wearing thin. Mr. Wellington, I've been on this bench for decades. I've seen thousands of cases. And I have to tell you, your attitude is one of the most troubling I've encountered. Marcus's response is shocking in its casualness. Your Honor, with all due respect, I think you're being overly sensitive. This is a minor traffic violation being blown out of proportion. Minor? You drove nearly 70 in a residential zone. The street was essentially empty. There were children present who were nowhere near my vehicle because they jumped out of the way. Marcus actually laughs. Your Honor, you're making this sound like I was trying to hit people. I'm an excellent driver. I had complete control. If you had complete control, why were you going nearly 3 times the speed limit? Because I'm confident in my abilities. Judge Caprio takes a deep breath, clearly working to maintain his composure. Mr. Wellington, let me ask you something. Do you think the rules apply to you? Marcus pauses, then delivers an answer that seals his fate. Your Honor, I think the rules were written for average people in average situations. I'm not average. I make split-second decisions worth millions of dollars. I trust my judgment. So that's a no? You don't think traffic laws apply to you? I think they should be applied with discretion, based on who's being cited and the circumstances. Judge Caprio has clearly had enough. His voice becomes stern, authoritative. Mr. Wellington, here's what's going to happen. You're facing reckless driving charges that carry a mandatory license suspension. Given your attitude, your complete lack of remorse, and your demonstrated belief that you're above the law, I'm inclined to impose the maximum penalty. Marcus's facade of calm cracks. You can't suspend my license. I already told you. I need it for my job. You should have thought about that before you drove recklessly through a neighborhood. This is ridiculous. How much is the fine? I'll pay double right now to end this. This isn't about money, Mr. Wellington. This is about public safety and accountability. Marcus's voice rises. I'm being targeted because I'm successful. This is class warfare disguised as justice. No, Mr. Wellington, you're being held accountable because you broke the law and endangered lives. I want to speak to your supervisor. The courtroom actually gasps. Someone just asked to speak to a judge's supervisor. Judge Caprio's response is ice cold. I don't have a supervisor, Mr. Wellington. This is my courtroom. Marcus's face reddens with anger. You're on a power trip because some working-class guy in a robe finally gets to tell a successful person what to do. Mr. Wellington, I'm warning you, control your language and your attitude. Or what? You'll hold me in contempt? Go ahead. My lawyers will have it overturned before lunch. Judge Caprio stands, which immediately silences the courtroom. Mr. Wellington, you need to understand something. Your wealth means nothing here. Your position means nothing here. Your lawyers mean nothing here. What matters is that you drove recklessly, endangered lives, showed no remorse, and now you're showing contempt for this court. And that's when Marcus does it. He looks directly at Judge Caprio and raises his middle finger. Just holds it there, staring at the judge with a smirk on his face. The courtroom erupts. Gasps, shocked exclamations, people standing up in disbelief. Judge Caprio's face transforms from stern to furious. His voice cuts through the chaos like thunder. Mr. Wellington, did you just make an obscene gesture at me? Marcus incredibly doubles down. Yeah, I did. What are you going to do about it? What am I going to do? Judge Caprio replies. I'm going to show you exactly what happens when you disrespect this court. Don't forget to subscribe to Judge Stories for the moment when arrogance meets absolute destruction. Judge Caprio doesn't sit back down. He stands at the bench, radiating controlled fury. Mr. Wellington, you came into this courtroom believing your wealth and position made you special. You've demonstrated contempt, not just for this court, but for public safety, for law enforcement, and for every other citizen who manages to follow basic traffic laws despite also having jobs and responsibilities. Your Honor, I'm not finished. You drove at dangerous speeds through a residential area. You ignored police commands. You showed zero remorse. You attempted to bribe your way out of consequences. You insulted this court, and then you made an obscene gesture directly at me. Marcus tries to regain control. Your Honor, I apologize for the gesture. I was frustrated. Your apology is meaningless. You're not sorry for what you did. You're sorry you're facing consequences. Judge Caprio begins issuing rulings, rapid fire. First, for reckless driving at nearly 70 miles per hour in a residential zone, I'm imposing the maximum fine of $2,500. Marcus barely reacts. That's pocket change to him. Second, for failure to comply with police commands, an additional $1,000 fine. Still nothing. He can afford this easily. Third, for contempt of court due to your obscene gesture, I'm imposing an additional $5,000 fine. That brings your total to $8,500. Marcus looks annoyed but not concerned. Judge Caprio isn't done. Fourth, your driver's license is suspended for 6 months effective immediately. Surrender it to the bailiff right now. Now Marcus reacts. 6 months? Your Honor, that's excessive. I'm not finished. Fifth, you're ordered to complete 50 hours of community service. You'll be working with a youth traffic safety program, teaching teenagers about the dangers of reckless driving. Your Honor, I don't have time? You'll make time. Sixth, mandatory traffic safety course. 8 weeks, every Saturday morning. Miss one session and your suspension extends to 1 year. Marcus is pale now, realizing this is serious. Seventh, the dash cam footage of your traffic stop and this courtroom proceeding will be forwarded to the Providence Police Department's Public Safety Division as an example of dangerous driving and contempt of authority. Judge Caprio's next words are devastating. And eighth, I'm forwarding the video of your contemptuous behavior to the Rhode Island Bar Association and the State Business Licensing Board. While I can't directly affect your employment, I can ensure that relevant authorities are aware of your character and judgment. Marcus's eyes widen. This could actually affect his career. Your Honor, you can't— I can. And I am. You wanted to know if I understand who you are. I do. You're someone who thinks wealth equals immunity. You're someone who endangers others and feels entitled to do so. You're someone who shows contempt for authority when that authority holds you accountable. Judge Caprio's voice drops to a deadly serious tone. Mr. Wellington, you told me your position should be relevant in this courtroom. You were right. It is relevant. It makes your behavior worse, not better. You're in a position of leadership. You employ people. Those people look to you as an example. And the example you're setting is that rules don't matter if you're rich enough. As Judge Caprio finishes his ruling, Marcus tries one last time to assert control. Your Honor, I'll appeal this. My lawyers will— Appeal all you want, Mr. Wellington. The video evidence is clear. Your behavior is documented. Your contempt was witnessed by this entire courtroom. No appeals court will overturn this. Marcus turns to leave, his arrogance finally replaced with something resembling fear. But Judge Caprio isn't quite done. Mr. Wellington, one more thing. Marcus stops. You asked if I know who you are. Let me tell you who you are in this moment. You're a man who just threw away his reputation, possibly his career, and definitely 6 months of his freedom to drive, all because you couldn't control your ego for 30 minutes. You came in here believing you were untouchable. You're leaving knowing you're not. That's the only valuable lesson you'll learn today. Don't waste it. Marcus leaves the courtroom and no longer strutting. Now he's hurrying, trying to escape the cameras, the witnesses, the reality of what just happened. But the story doesn't end there. Within 3 hours, video of Marcus's contempt, the middle finger, the arrogance, the complete disrespect, is on local news. By evening, it's gone viral on social media. By the next morning, it's national news. Tech Vanguard Systems Board of Directors calls an emergency meeting. Their CEO just became a liability. The company's reputation is being destroyed by association with Marcus's behavior. 2 days later, a board member approaches Judge Caprio's chambers, requesting to speak with him. Judge Caprio agrees to meet. Your Honor, I'm Janet Morrison, board chair of Tech Vanguard. I wanted you to know that as of this morning, Marcus Wellington is no longer our CEO. He's been terminated. Judge Caprio nods solemnly. Ms. Morrison, I take no pleasure in that outcome, but I can't say I'm surprised. Your Honor, we've watched the video multiple times. We're horrified. That man represented our company. His behavior reflected on all of us. We had no choice. What will happen to the 400 employees? He mentioned they'll keep their jobs, Janet said. We're promoting internally. Someone with actual leadership qualities, someone who respects others, will take over. Someone who understands that a position comes with responsibility, not immunity? Judge Caprio nodded approvingly. Ms. Morrison, that's the right decision. Your Honor, there's something else, she continued. We're establishing a corporate ethics program focused on traffic safety, community responsibility, and respect for authority. We're requiring every member of leadership to complete it. She paused. We're calling it the Wellington Accountability Program. Judge Caprio almost smiled at the irony. Named after the man who had none. Exactly, Janet replied. His failure becomes a teaching tool. After she left, an older man approached Judge Caprio in the hallway. Your Honor, I was in the courtroom that day. I'm a retired executive myself. I just wanted to thank you. Thank me, Caprio asked, for showing that punk that wealth doesn't equal worth. I spent 40 years building my career with integrity. Guys like Wellington give successful people a bad name. He needed to learn that lesson. Judge Caprio shook his hand. Sir, I appreciate that. But I didn't destroy his career. He did that himself. You just made sure there were consequences. That's my job. Subscribe to Judge. Stories right now, for more real moments where arrogance meets accountability, and one gesture can destroy everything. Marcus Wellington walked into court worth millions, employing hundreds and believing he was untouchable. He walked out with his license suspended, his career destroyed, and viral infamy as the CEO who gave a judge the finger. Judge Frank Caprio proved once again that no one is above the law. that disrespect has immediate consequences, and that sometimes the most powerful thing a judge can do is simply enforce accountability. This is what happens when entitled wealth meets real authority, when arrogance defeats judgment, and when one middle finger costs a man his multi-million-dollar career. The lesson is simple. Respect costs nothing. Disrespect can cost everything.